that's what it was. And after the sparring, we respected each other. Like, it was a different type vibe after we sparred, honestly. Now it was like, oh, damn, bro. Like, damn. Like, we really started to get to know each other, you feel me? Because when he came to our gym, he was popular. Like, Shakur was the guy.
They knew him.
Everybody knew him, in amateurs.
One thing I can say, though, because, I've been seeing, we've been amateur together and stuff. Right.
The boxing community got hit with some major shockwaves when footage leaked showing Keyshawn Davis dropping Shakur Stevenson during sparring. This leaked moment really put the spotlight on Davis's precise technique and perfect timing, while also showing just how brutal these elite training camps can get. Davis made it clear that Teofimo Lopez brings serious skills to the table, mentioning how he'd watched both Stevenson and Lopez work their magic in the amateur ranks. What he's really getting at is that raw talent only takes you so far. And when it comes down to it, the fighter who shows up with better preparation, faster reflexes, and smarter game planning is the one who's going to control the fight.
How do you see Teo against Shakur playing out? Because you want me to tell you the truth, like, this fight could have been the winner's bracket fight. In other words, they're jumping to it, but at the end of the era, it may have been Teo and Shakur, especially if you would never fight Shakur, right? How do you see this fight playing out?
I see it playing out, let's say, I see it starting off slow.
Okay.
And then I see as Shakur wins the first round, as Shakur wins the second round, slowly, I think Teo is going to eventually start picking it up and start imposing his will.
Right.
And then, it's just going to go from there. That's how I think it's going to go.
That's a fair assessment.
Keyshawn Davis opened up about that intense sparring round with Shakur Stevenson, making sure everyone understood it was pure competition, nothing personal about it. He broke down how frustrating it was in there, throwing combinations that just couldn't find their target while Stevenson's counters kept finding home. But here's the thing, Davis refused to back down or ease up because he knew the moment you stop pushing forward is the moment you lose. That brutal exchange left him with massive respect for what Stevenson brings to the table and reminded him why you never stop grinding, no matter what's happening in there.
Boom, sparring day come. I'm confident. I'm knowing I'm about to go in here and beat him up, right? Man, I get in the ring, man. Why I cannot hit this man, right? I cannot hit him, but he touching me. So I was like, oh, this is different.
He different.
Like, he different. So I just keep, I'm 14, he's 16. I just keep going, I just keep going. So some getting through, some not, some getting through, some getting not. And I felt as if I was to step off the gas pedal, he was gonna get me. So I just had to keep going, you feel me? And I know he explained that a lot of times in interviews, like that's why he respect me so much, because in that sparring right there, I didn't respect him at all. I was trying to F him up, you know what I'm saying? Like, and that's what it was. And after the sparring, we respected each other. Like, it was a different type vibe after we sparred, honestly. Now it was like, oh, damn, bro, like, damn. Like, we really started to get to know each other, you feel me? Because when he came to our gym, he was popular, like.
Shakur Stevenson has been putting in absolutely relentless work during this entire fight camp, showing the kind of focus that separates champions from everyone else. Each training session gets treated like it's the actual fight, with Stevenson dialing in his technique, pushing his speed to another level, and building the kind of endurance that breaks opponents. But the physical work is just part of what makes Stevenson dangerous. He's deep in the film room, breaking down opponent tendencies, working through strategic adjustments, and running through every possible fight scenario in his head. This camp is built around never settling, always finding ways to get better, and perfecting every single detail. When Stevenson walks into that ring, he'll be operating at peak performance, mentally locked in, and ready to execute whatever it takes to dominate.
The fight is discipline, time away from my family. How you gonna beat me? Ain't no way you can beat me that way, bro. Why I keep saying I'm the best. Niggas don't want this shit more than me. I know it. I know it. I want this shit so bad. So bad. Shit easy, gang.
Easy, man.
Easy.
Always easy, man.
You already know.
Always easy, man.
This supposed to be a sprint.
Let's go.
This ain't no sprint.
Nah, it's a job. Let's go. We ready. That boy is...
Keyshawn Davis talked about the deep history he shares with Shakur Stevenson, going way back to when their connection first started building. Right from day one, these two had something special that went beyond just being training partners, with Keyshawn calling Stevenson family, straight up like a brother. But even with that tight bond, the competitive fire between them never stopped burning, constantly pushing each other to reach new levels throughout their entire journey. That combination of genuine friendship and fierce competition became the driving force behind both fighters' development, as they kept learning from each other while refusing to let the other guy get ahead. Keyshawn stressed that no matter how intense their rivalry got, it always came from a place of real respect in both of them wanting to reach the absolute top of boxing.
It's family, bro. Like I'm never ever fighting Shakur. You know what I'm saying? I'm not. It's not even gonna feel right.
What were some of the experiences like with you guys growing up like as young men and young teenagers in Virginia? Like what's some of those things that shaped you to know like he's my brother, man, I could never do that?
Yeah, the moment when I was like, all right, yeah, Shakur, I genuinely actually got real love for you was when I was going through my deep depression times. Even before I was going into the mental home, I used to tell my brother a lot. But then I started like backing off from my little brother because he was my little brother. I started talking to Shakur a lot about like how I was feeling and how I was thinking and what I was doing to myself. And Shakur was just giving me advice that I really like take in and like, damn, okay, I got you and stuff like that. And then I end up going to the mental home and, you know, like he calling me in there, checking up on me and stuff like that. I get out of the mental home, he pulling up on me, making sure I'm straight, making sure I get back in the gym, making sure I continue to do what I love. So he was there for me with my worst.
When Shakur Stevenson sat down with Ariel Helwani, he didn't hold back about what's coming in this fight against Teofimo Lopez. Stevenson, who's been making waves with his surgical precision and boxing IQ, fired back at everyone questioning whether he's ready for this level of competition. He made it crystal clear that his confidence isn't just talk, breaking down how Lopez has never stepped in there with someone who brings what he brings to the table. Stevenson laid out exactly why this fight is going to expose Lopez to problems he's never had to solve before, talking about how his speed, tactical adjustments, and ability to adapt mid-fight will create situations Lopez isn't prepared for. Instead of getting caught up in all the media noise, Shakur kept his focus locked on the actual challenge, showing the mindset of someone who's put everything into preparation, execution, and climbing to the very top. What came through wasn't just confidence, but a complete understanding of what it takes to beat a fighter with Lopez's power and reputation. Stevenson went deeper into why he's not changing his approach for anyone or anything. He made it clear that he's not going to fight someone else's fight or get dragged into wild exchanges just because people want excitement. His plan is to stay methodical, use his range and timing to control every exchange, and capitalize on whatever mistakes Lopez gives him. By keeping his composure and sticking to his boxing intelligence, Stevenson wants to dictate everything that happens from the first round to the final bell. This shows exactly why Stevenson is considered one of the smartest young fighters in the sport, always putting strategy ahead of emotion.
It's cool. I mean, that's their opinion. Like, you know, they could say that. But I know he never fought nobody on my level. Like, I'm 1,000,000% sure that T.O. has never seen nobody as good as me in his life.
He's talking about, like, once he gets through you, then he wants Crawford, names like that. How do you think he would do against someone like Terrence at this point?
I think he gets knocked out.
Can't even hang with him.
Yeah, he's too little. Bud is too big for him.
Right. As far as skills, though, do you think he's on par with the likes of Terrence?
I'm not gonna say he's on a Terrence Crawford level of skills, but he's very skillful. He got a lot of things with him that puts him at a high level.
One thing that was interesting to me was it seemed like you were going to move on from Matchroom, but now Eddie Hearn is involved in this, and this is a Matchroom event. It seems like, I know it's a ring card too, but he's promoting it here in the United States. So what is the state of your relationship with Eddie and Matchroom at this point?
Eddie's my guy. I'm actually not signed to Matchroom, but he's my guy. I'm a big fan of Eddie Hearn, and nothing but respect to him. But I'm glad he's the promoter that's on this card. I'm glad to share the spotlight with his promotional company.
So if he's your guy, how come you're not signed to Matchroom?
I mean, it's just business. If it makes sense, then I will. You know, if it come down to it and that's what makes sense, then we'll do it. But right now, I don't think it makes sense.
Okay, so are you just more of like your own man at this point? Your own entity?
Yeah, I am.
Okay. Do you negotiate with the ring people, with Turkey? You just do that yourself?
No, me and my manager Jay Prince, yep.
Okay.
Bozy Ennis, one of boxing's most trusted voices, broke down this Stevenson-Lopez matchup and delivered a serious reality check to Teofimo Lopez about what he's walking into. Ennis stressed that anyone sleeping on Shakur Stevenson is setting themselves up for disaster. He explained how Stevenson's speed isn't just about being fast, it's a complete weapon system that lets him control every exchange, slip punches that should land, and set up picture-perfect counters. Ennis pointed out that power punchers who don't respect timing and movement usually find themselves in serious trouble against Stevenson. His message to Lopez was simple: you better understand what you're dealing with, because Stevenson's combination of ring IQ and pure speed creates problems that most fighters just can't handle.
Man. You gonna pick them apart. And I gotta tell everybody this, that Wichicombe is real athletic too. Teofimo. So I mean, I don't think it's gonna be an easy fight. You know what I mean? People think, a lot of people say it's gonna be easy and all. Nah. Teofimo can punch and he can box. And like I said, he's real athletic. So, you know what I mean? That'll make it a little difficult right there. You know what I mean?
I see a lot of people going back and forth with it. Some people think Teo got the advantage because of the weight and that he's athletic and explosive. Some people say Shakur is the better boxer.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. How you see that fight ending?
Well, they saying, they got the weight and all that. I see Shakur boxing big guys, light heavyweights and all that stuff. It's like moves. He box heavyweights and put the heavyweights down. You know what I mean? I think that's the right move for him. You know what I mean? Get up, and I think he can really do good at that weight.
This isn't a stoppage.
I'm looking at a decision, not a stoppage. But then it all according how Teo come in. If Teo come at him, he's gonna run into some shots. It might be over. You know what I mean?
Now, you always tell me it's the shot that you don't see coming.
That's it.
That power is speed.
Right.
So, could it be a situation where people underestimate Shakur's punching power?
Yeah. I think Shakur can punch. You know what I mean? I think he can punch. It's just like I said, speed is power. Not them guys, muscle bound guys come in and they talking about, he can punch and all that. Like I just got finished saying, like you just got finished saying, matter of fact. The punch that you don't see knocks him out. And they always say, man, I didn't see that punch coming. That's the one you worry about.
Dan Raphael, who's covered boxing for decades, gave his take on this fight by focusing on what makes both fighters so special at what they do. Raphael painted this as the ultimate clash of styles, with Stevenson representing technical, and Lopez bringing explosive fight-changing power. He gave Lopez credit for being able to flip any fight with one perfectly timed shot, while also highlighting how Stevenson's disciplined approach, boxing intelligence, and defensive skills make him incredibly difficult to land on cleanly. What makes this fight so fascinating, according to Raphael, is that both fighters have the tools to win, but everything depends on whose strengths show up when it matters most.
Teofimo has been a bona fide world champion in 2 divisions. He was the champion at lightweight, had most of the belts, defeated Lomachenko. He did suffer the upset loss to Kambosos. There were some physical issues there that we didn't know about going into the fight, not to make excuses for him. But regardless, he came back and even though maybe he didn't shine and scintillate maybe in some of those fights after that, when it came time to step up and take on the champ, which was Josh Taylor, he shined in that fight. So when Teofimo is matched, in a big time opponent, he's delivered, and he's done it, a number of times. And, he looked really good against Taylor. And Shakur, by the way, similar thing. He's been flawless through his career. He may be not the most exciting at times, but Shakur Stevenson gets the job done. He has won titles from featherweight up to lightweight. When his back was against the wall, quote unquote, and everybody had big expectations, and he had a lot of pressure on him not to make it a boring fight and all that kind of business. What did he do in his last fight against William Zepeda? He stood in the pocket and he fought the guy, and he won handily. He shut him out, basically. He won like 10 rounds to 2. I mean, he fought a unification fight against Oscar Valdez, a fighter that, even though he might have been favored, thought maybe Oscar could do some damage because he was a good puncher and had a great amateur background and a great chin and all those types of things. And he went out there and he routed him also. I mean, so, these are 2 of the best young elite fighters in boxing. And their fight has been talked about for a long time. They spent most of their careers together at Top Rank, which is a fight If you ever ask Bob Arum, he'll tell you that was a fight that Top Rank, down the road had their eye on at some point when they were going to be, closer in weight to each other. Because obviously Teofimo had started off, a little bit heavier than Shakur, but they would eventually catch up to each other. They're both Olympians, by the way. Teofimo he's American, but he fought for his parents' country of Honduras. In that same Olympic Games, it was Shakur Stevenson winning a silver medal for the United States. I mean, they have all kinds of accomplishment. I do think they have a healthy respect for each other. They know each other for all the years being at Top Rank events together. They fought on the same undercard twice when the main event was Terrence Crawford, who was obviously very close to Shakur, but Teofimo was on those shows also. So, and they're doing it in the right place. This is not a fight they're taking to a place that doesn't make sense. All respect to the big matches they do in Saudi Arabia, but this is the kind of fight that belonged in America, and it didn't belong in Las Vegas. It belongs in New York City at Madison Square Garden. Teofimo is from Brooklyn. Shakur is from Newark, New Jersey, which is a 5-minute train ride from Midtown Manhattan. I mean, it's got everything you want to see. The Garden hasn't had a lot of big fights in the main arena over the last few years. The last one they had was the third fight between Katie Taylor and Serrano. But before that, it'd been, a couple years, I think, since they had a main arena fight. So this is a big time fight.
Tim Bradley, a former world champion and highly respected analyst, dove deep into what this fight means for boxing's future landscape. He talked about how this matchup perfectly captures where the sport is heading, with elite young fighters stepping up to prove who's at the top of the next generation. He connected this to fighters like Devin Haney's journey, explaining how guys like Stevenson represent this new wave that combines traditional boxing skills with modern adaptability and strategic thinking, not just relying on power alone. For him, this fight is about both Stevenson and Lopez cementing their place in boxing history, while showing how today's fighters blend physical tools with technical mastery. He emphasized that fighters like Stevenson are raising the bar for precision, speed, and tactical thinking, forcing their opponents to completely step up their game. Lopez, with all his explosive ability and athletic gifts, has to find ways to deal with Stevenson's calculated approach. He suggested that any young fighter watching this matchup should study both men closely. Stevenson's methodical game plan and Lopez's ability to impose his will and create pressure in big moments. In the end, he positioned this fight as something bigger than just two fighters competing, calling it a showcase of boxing's evolution and where the sport is heading.
Going at it again. Yeah, I think Devin Haney setting the trend. Devin Haney setting the trend. Yeah. Yep, he's setting the trend. Now all these young guys starting to test themselves against each other now. That's what we want to see. That's what we want to see. We want to see who the best is, yo. And then the winner of this fight right here needs to fight Devin Haney. Why not? Why not? Keep it going. Keep it going. But anyways, look, this is a message, man. Anybody that's going to be working that hard, y'all better make sure y'all do y'all damn homework. I'm talking about any commentators, any host, anybody. Do your damn homework, man, for real. You know what I'm saying? Because this not going to be one of them fights where it's going to be rock'em, sock'em, both guys hitting each other and stuff like that. No, it's going to be small, little nuancey type of things that if you don't know what you watching, you can't tell us what the hell is going on. All the fans at home going to be like, what's going on? You know? That they don't have the knowledge that you supposed to have to give us some food for our damn thoughts. So do your damn homework on this, okay? Oh, that go for everybody that's gonna be calling this fight, because there's every offense that, or every type of any offense that's gonna be landed, it's gonna have to be earned or set up. Both these guys are intelligent, right? Teofimo Lopez, explosive as hell. He's smart as well. Shoot, you got to remember, this man was the first man to beat Lomachenko. Yeah, well before Haney. Yeah, So, look, check this out. And you already know Shakur Stevenson. You know what he bring into the ring. Defense first. Yep, defense first. You ain't getting nothing. I'm gonna get mine when I get mine and when I want to get mine, but you ain't getting nothing. So look, y'all might perceive this fight as being boring and this and that. This is going to be one hell of a technical battle that I can't wait to see.
The conversation also touched on how Teofimo Lopez performs when he's facing elite competition. Experts have noticed that Lopez seems to elevate his performance specifically when he's challenged by top-tier fighters, with the level of his opponent directly affecting how good he looks in there. Against someone like Shakur Stevenson, Lopez is going to have to perform at his absolute best, bringing perfect timing, sharp reflexes, and complete focus for every single round. This setup means both fighters will be forced to show their highest level, with Lopez needing to combine his natural power and speed with smart strategy to stay competitive. The breakdown made it clear that Lopez's aggressive style and offensive pressure have to be balanced with patience and discipline against a boxer like Stevenson. Because wild swinging or mistimed attacks will get punished immediately, Stevenson's ability to manage distance, pick up on Lopez's patterns, and stay one step ahead of his attacks makes this
the challenge for Lopez.
Teofimo Lopez needs opponents like Shakur Stevenson because they are elite fighters. He needs that to bring out the very best in him. I just can't see how it's possible that whilst Teofimo, we've seen a ceiling with him in terms of he's been beaten by certain opponents, we know that he can lose in the ring. But I don't know if that's a genuine ceiling, because I think that his ceiling is actually one of the most changeable in boxing based on who's in front of him. And so actually, I think there's a very, very good chance we're going to see the best possible version of Teofimo Lopez in the ring against Shakur Stevenson. But we should talk about Shakur Stevenson before we get into the nuts and bolts of the fight, what it might look like, and why it is so risky for both men. Now, Shakur Stevenson is currently undefeated. He's 24-0 with 11 KOs. He turned pro back in 2017. He's the same age as Teofimo Lopez at 28 years old, both men in their athletic primes. He's 5'8". I mean, these are on paper heights, so potentially a little bit shorter. He could even be a bit taller than Teofimo Lopez. I really need to see them next to each other.
That's it for today's video. Stay tuned until next time.